right, hello, welcome to the Hold My Helmet Football Podcast. I'm your host, Will Reichling.
And I'm your co-host, Dylan Boyle.
Welcome back, Dylan. Welcome back. Another week of signing contracts, injuries, concerns, disconcerns. So we'll get into it. There's a lot to get into this week.
Before we get into anything, I think we actually need to apologize for what happened last week. We had a bit of a malfunction. We had a
little bit of a technical
difficulties. Yeah, you can call it that. My mic was a little messed up. You know, I'll take full accountability.
And as a result, my mic also was getting a little messed up from it.
But don't worry, we're gonna do our due diligence and make sure everything comes out perfectly.
Yeah, we want to put out the best product for you guys, and that's really all we care about. So as long as you keep listening, we'll keep getting better and better. So like, subscribe, share, and let's get started, Dylan.
Let's do it.
So I like to start with Jimmy Garropolo passing his physical. Now, we had our first ever episode together, I think, where you were on the show. We talked about Garropolo and how he might not play.
Now, I think we might have overreacted a tiny bit.
I did say that this might be. I did in that podcast say that that episode that it might be an overreaction, like he was going to play this season. But I was worried more about if he gets hurt during the season again, because he's always getting hurt.
I think everybody just took it and ran with it. Like it wasn't just
the Raiders and Jimmy Garropolo and
what
easy to talk crap about the Raiders.
Oh, no, for sure. Like I feel like if anything, whatever can go wrong for the Raiders will go wrong for the Raiders.
Right. And I don't think they'll be great, but they did add Marcus Peters to cornerback, so they have improved the defense a little bit. They still got Max Crosby. They have good players. Devontae Adams. If Josh Jacobs plays, we'll get into that, but they have some players.
Exactly. You know, I think the Raiders really might be a sleeper team this year because they just picked up Jimmy G. They have Devontae Adams, like you said, and Devontae Adams, like we put him in our I think he was my number one.
And he was 2 for me, so it's still outstanding.
They have one of the best receivers. I think what it really comes down to is Josh Jacobs actually going to play for the Raiders.
Right. Yes. And, well, you know, I don't think they'll be a playoff team regardless of that, but he would make. Yes, he would impact them.
Listen, okay. You say that, but they literally, at least once a year, beat the Chiefs. And the Chiefs are, hands down, the best team in the league. So
I remember one primetime game. I don't know if it was Sunday night or Monday night. It was a few years ago.
And Derek just kept going
Derek Carr went toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes. It was a great game.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, that was Derek Carr. But this goes back to what I'm saying. They might not be. They just lost Derek Carr, and they potentially might lose their star running back.
Yeah.
You know, they gotta
He left.
Yeah. So he was actually people close to him are reporting that he left Vegas, and they are saying that he's not coming back. So I don't know if this is more so them trying to push the Raiders to give him a deal or not, but there's legit sources saying that. Like Fox News that are saying that people close to him are saying that he's not going to come back.
I heard that too. I think this might be more of a bluff. Like I think he's going to play. He's just going to sit out training camp, scare him a little bit.
So he is in a contract with the Raiders. So
technically he's not yet. He has not signed the tag. So technically he's not on the Raiders right now. So he can do this without getting fined.
No, that's fine. But if he doesn't play for the Raiders,
he won't play for anyone.
He won't play for anybody. No. So I mean, we saw this happen with
Le'Veon Bell. He doesn't want to be the next Le'Veon Bell.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. So we really don't know what's going to happen with him. I think it's a statement move. It really is, you know?
It is. No, he's trying to show his hand right now, you know? He's trying to say, I got the power here. I'm the star running back. You know, Josh McDaniels, you gave me over 300 carries. Clearly, you like to run the ball with me.
He had one of his best seasons.
It was his best season.
It was literally his best season last year.
But that's the thing with him. Sorry to cut you off, but that's the thing a little bit. Like, it was his best season by far, and he's been good his entire career. But will he duplicate that again? You know, like, he's never had a season like that before.
I know, but he's still so young as well. Like,
isn't he like 25? I think he's 25 or 26. He's young. He's young.
He's still up there, you know, but like, so we'll get into it. But they could have easily done exactly what they did with Saquon Barkley. And it honestly, so we're going to get into it.
Why don't we just get into that?
Okay, screw it. Yeah. So Saquon Barkley got his deal. And honestly, I was really happy about this until I looked into the details. So he got a 1-year deal for $11 million. And in that $11 million, he got 10.2 guaranteed, and that's basically it was 10.1 guaranteed, and that's the franchise.
Yeah,
tag.
He basically got guaranteed the franchise tag. That hasn't changed.
And then he got $900,000 in incentives, and $900,000.
So you're telling me he went through all this hassle to get Well, also you were gonna mention the signing.
So
bonus,
so in that $11 million, $2 million of it is a signing bonus.
So he gets that
right away
immediately.
Yeah. So really, what did he get? He got $900,000 and $2 million of it right away.
You know, to me, it kind of comes off as a little petty by Barkley because he went through all this. I know he wanted a bigger contract than this, but at the end of the day, it's just an extra $1 million, basically.
Okay, so
give or take.
What I'm thinking is maybe he's just playing the hand he has now because he really missed out on a big deal. What was it? What was the deal that he was going to get?
I think it was like $13 million a year, but then he denied that he turned that down. But apparently that was that I've heard that is true.
So there's speculation going around.
Yeah, I've heard from sources that that's true.
I think he's just playing what he has now because he's in a similar situation. What team is he going to play on if he doesn't play for the team?
He's not going to play on any team at all. Well, now he got signed, and as a Giant fan, which you are, I would just be happy that he got signed, okay? Worry about next season. And, you know, Dylan, the craziest thing about this is he's not even, you know, one of the highest paid running backs with this. He barely even scratched the surface with this.
No, it's honestly pretty crazy. The list that we have for top 5 paid running backs, it kind of throws me off. So we're starting at number 1 highest paid running back. We have Christian McCaffrey paid at $16 million. Now that's not that bad. You know, that's pretty decent.
For someone that gets hurt a lot, it's a little much, but he is a receiver. He's a
receiving running back.
Exactly.
So he kind of,
So is Barkley, though, but, you know, moving on.
Christian McCaffrey is a lot more dynamic.
Yes, he's more of like a Swiss Army knife than Barkley is. Yeah.
So then this one kind of makes me really laugh. So the second paid highest running back right now is Alvin Kamara at $15 million.
Alvin
Kamara just had one of the worst seasons of his career, and honestly, I would say he was like top 20 last year. I don't even know if I would put him there.
I would agree with that.
And it's funny because I think it was like it might have been week 3. I can see he was starting to decline, and he was like my first round pick in the draft.
In fantasy? In my league, Commissioner Willie over here.
Week 3, I'm like, you know what? He's not doing it for me. Let me just trade him. Everybody in the group chat was roasting me.
So we're on a flag football team. We're in the group chat where everyone was on the same fantasy league, and they were roasting this kid.
Roasting me. I think he might have had one good week. It was
decent too. It wasn't even like anything like 40 points.
Dude,
it was like maybe 20.
He went like 6 or 7 weeks without scoring a touchdown.
He's the kind of guy though in fantasy that like you start anyway because he has that potential to have that huge game.
That's what everyone was saying, but no, I was reading between the lines, and I decided, like, you know what, let me get rid of him. I don't remember who I picked up 2 receivers or something, but it paid off. It wasn't nothing crazy, but it definitely paid off.
No, it wasn't anything. But you made the playoffs, and I just missed by like 0.3 points. I remember like Godwin scored a touchdown, and then they called it back, and I was like throwing chairs, literally throwing chairs.
Regardless of the matter.
I think I gave my girlfriend an attitude for like 3 days straight for no reason. She did nothing wrong.
That's what fantasy will do to you, man.
Football in general, flag football too. Like when we win on Sundays, I'm like the happiest.
It's a real mood changer.
When we lose, my whole days ruined. But anyway, getting back into it.
All right, so let's just keep on moving down the list. So then number 3, we have Derrick Henry paid at $12.5 million,
and that's reasonable in my opinion.
That is, because he's another one that
1,500 yards last season though. Even like people think he had a down year last year. I think I said this in the previous episode too. 1,500 yards still, so he's still
So I think people were really pushing that narrative because he was coming back from an injury.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
and they wanted him.
And the Titans
they kind of expected it.
The Titans weren't good last year either.
Yeah, so his name really wasn't thrown out there that much for sure.
It wasn't.
So then at number 4, we have Nick Chubb paid at 12.2.
Also reasonable, but also kind of gets hurt sometimes. But also reasonable.
Yeah, very true. So and then number 5, we have Aaron Jones paid at $12 million, and that's another one that kind of makes sense. But I feel like we're gonna really be hearing less of him after they got rid of Aaron Rodgers.
No, yeah, right. I mean, the Packers really aren't going to be on the map as much anymore going through the season. I mean, all the folks going to be on the Jets. Then who the Packers got? Jordan Love. So, but that's gonna. But you know what? Him and AJ Dillon will relieve a lot of pressure off Jordan Love. So that's their key. That's their strength right now. They're running backs.
I think he's the last man standing, like the last good person in Green Bay right
seriously.
now.
I mean, Christian Watson's coming on, but
he is.
There was how much of that was Rodgers?
No, exactly. That's
a good question. Keep your eyes on Christian Watson this season. If he puts up numbers, he's great. If not, maybe Aaron Rodgers kind of push that a little bit.
I can very much see that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna really see who who's pushing who. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, we're gonna see very quickly how Jordan Love is, and
same thing with Aaron Rodgers. We'll see how good he was, or if he was just kind of comfortable in Green Bay.
Yeah. I'm on the impression that he'll be Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, we talked about this last week. Like, we don't know if a team that goes to a brand new team is really gonna excel there.
Yeah, not everyone's Brady and Stafford. Winning Super Bowls right away. Usually, that's not how it works.
Are we gonna have a Russell Wilson situation? And the Jets made the dumbest decision, because we looked at the Broncos like they were complete idiots. Like, they made the dumbest deal ever, and they really did at first. But I feel like they're
now with Sean Payton. When you're really looking between the lines and what he's saying about Russ, I think they're going to bounce back this season. How much will they bounce back? That's the question.
Well,
Dylan.
no, I actually think after he just made this huge statement. Kind of what was
that? Yes, I said that to you. Yeah. So ripping Nathaniel Hackett, ripping the front office, his GM, his boss. Sean Payton was ripping his boss.
That's pretty insane. I like that.
I do like that because you want to know what? He calls the shots there now.
No, the GM he's really making.
He's setting the culture right now. He's setting the culture. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if the Broncos made the playoffs. I don't have them in the playoffs, but I wouldn't be surprised.
There's so many. This is a very
especially
interesting.
In the AFC.
Yes, this
crazy.
is such an interesting.
I know.
Season.
I was telling you earlier. Football is kind of like a reality TV show, especially in the off season. Like every week, it's like, where's this guy gonna go? Oh, is this guy gonna get traded? Can this guy live up to his contract? Will this guy get paid? Will this guy not get paid? So Broncos. I think we both think are definitely gonna improve. But let's move on and back to the running backs again, because this is just like a hot topic of the summer. Austin Ekeler set up a Zoom call. Saquon Barkley was in it. Josh Jacobs was in it. Christian McCaffrey was in it. Tony Pollard was in it. I don't know. There's more or less.
We were right. They literally
are in cahoots. They're in cahoots. We were right. We called on the spot. I said we are in the conspiracy theory business. We're in the football business, but maybe we're in both businesses, Dylan.
No, yeah, absolutely. Like, I don't know if kind of after this week, Saquon Barkley, left the chat.
Yeah.
So
that's actually that's actually really funny.
I don't want to jump all over the place, but I did want to mention something about the Giants. Like, I think it's a great deal that they did. They made a smart decision, so you got to really think about it. They gave Saquon Barkley a 1-year deal. And I don't know if he was too happy about this, but I think this is how it's going to play out. So Saquon Barkley is 25 years old right now. So they give him the 1-year deal. He'll be 26. Then you could franchise tag him for 2 more years. 26, 27. He's going to be 28 years old when he gets a legit deal. If he gets a legit deal. And honestly, at that point, you just trade him. So they're really just getting the best years out of him with the least amount of money.
Oh yeah, for the Giants, this is a slam dunk. For the Giants, they have the right people in the front office now. They're
really making smart decisions.
The Daniel Jones wasn't. I mean, was he a little overpaid? Yes, but you have to pay the quarterback. You have to. Who were they going to get?
No, I know.
Who was out there? Derek Carr? I mean, is he better than I think Derek Carr is better than Daniel Jones, but about how much? How much better is Jimmy Garropolo than Daniel Jones?
See, I don't know about that. So I think what they're really going to do, or what they should do, is they should really start backing off of Saquon. Like, last season, literally almost half the plays revolved around either handing off to Barkley or running it with Daniel Jones. They really have to get away from that because it's getting way too predictable now.
Yeah, you don't want to become Saquon Barkley reliant. And that's why they added Darren Waller. They added more speed. Paris Campbell. They brought in Crowder. I know everyone, Crowder's been hurt a lot the last couple of years, but Jamison Crowder can play. Mm-hmm. If he's healthy, he can play. They brought back Shepard, and Shepard's a good locker room guy. I don't understand why they brought.
No, I like Shepard.
Yeah,
bro. Like,
he's a good locker room guy. Did he live up to his first round selection? Probably not. But
no, but he's definitely one of those good. Like, he's a good number 2.
He's solid. He's more of a 3. I'd more of a slot guy 3. But you got Slayton. I think Slayton's better too. You got Hodgins, and then you also drafted Jalen Hyatt in the third round.
But they never had that number 1, so he could kind of sit back and be that number 2.
Well, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
I feel like it's going to be crazy this season because everyone's going to be fighting to be that number 1.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You have Slayton still very good. Isaiah Hodgins performed last season out of
nowhere.
Signed up the street.
Liked him.
Signed up the street. Jalen Hyatt, you drafted in the third round. That might end up being your star receiver. We don't know yet.
Exactly. We don't know who's going to be the number 1.
Wan'Dale Robinson's coming back.
Wan'Dale Robinson, yeah.
They actually have a lot of depth now, but it's all like 2s and 3s. But they have a lot of depth now.
But you don't know with these receivers. One of them could just step up, and you could just build some chemistry with Daniel Jones, and they just
I think it's going to be Waller.
I like Isaiah Hodgins. Like, yeah, he's really good. He's really showed a lot of potential.
Yeah, they got him off the street, basically.
That's crazy, too. Like, that's what I'm saying. You don't need to draft them in the first round. You could, and it's all about building the chemistry with him and the quarterback. That's what it's all about.
You got a point. I mean, majority of the league, the majority of the stars in the league are like 4th and 5th rounders, I'm pretty sure, like the average of it. But, when you have an elite receiver like Marvin Harrison Jr. next season, next draft, he's going to be selected probably number 2 after Caleb Williams. That's someone you draft high. But, if it's someone if you're at the end of the first round and it's someone you're not too sure about, get
a lineman at that point.
Yeah, you could always use linemen.
Exactly. They get hurt a lot, so
offensively, because they're constantly running into each other all the time. I was telling you this the other day. They're constantly bashing each other every play. We were having an argument. Who gets hit more, running backs or linemen? And honestly, it's probably a little even.
It is, but you got to realize when they run the ball, 99% of the time they're getting tackled, because if they're not getting tackled, then they're scoring a touchdown
or running out of bounds.
So they're always getting hit, and that's why it always confused me why they're not like the 3rd or 4th most paid receiver. Because so I'm just gonna go a little bit off topic. So in general, in like jobs in general, the more risk you take, the higher you should be paid. So let me just tell you. So there's people that climb on the top of like 1,500 feet poles, and you know how much they get paid? They get paid $20,000 every time they climb up one pole. So this just goes to show, like, you're taking more risk, you get paid more. The same thing with running backs. They're getting their legs get tackled every other play. That's like screaming ACL injury.
Yeah, imagine getting like slammed in the shins every
exactly, man. That's
and they don't wear a lot. And they don't wear a lot of padding anymore because they want to be fast. So they don't wear a lot of leg padding anymore, like they used to.
These running backs,
they're basically bare.
I know, and it's a little unfair. It's like you got to really put it in like a human's perspective.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I've heard other analysts make that same case. They are human. It is a little, it's sad.
Dude, they're doing this for our entertainment. DeMar Hamlin died on the field. That should just go to say, like, yeah, no, he's not a running back. But you really gotta.
Well, he's a safety, and safeties get underpaid too.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. Like, obviously, it wasn't an injury where he got tackled too hard. It was just a freak accident. But just besides the point, these players are putting their life on the line. And running backs are getting hit the most and taking the most damage, so they should be getting paid the most.
Well,
that's not fair.
I agree with that. I think their first contract should be their highest, or even like I think they should get paid. I think they should get paid early. I think they should get paid early. And most of them, well, I guess they don't anymore, because usually you get paid as much as like how high you are in the draft. Like,
it is a real gamble.
Guess who's the highest paid running back this season? Take a guess. Actually, like for this season, because I think McCaffrey, his annual value. His average is 16, but he's making 12 this year, technically. Well, yeah, so guess who's the highest paid running back this year, specifically? Bijan Robinson, who hasn't even played the game yet, $13 million. Because McCaffrey's making 12 this year. I think it's more pushed back towards the end.
Yes.
So Bijan Robinson, who hasn't even played a snap in the league, is making the most money because he was drafted 7th overall.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. Just because he was drafted high?
Yeah, because the draft, it doesn't matter your position. It just matters on where you were selected in the draft.
So the only part that I kind of understand is you're really taking a gamble with these running backs, because they get hurt so quickly, and then you really don't know how they're going to play after their injuries.
You're right. Sometimes people come back stronger from ACLs and stuff, and sometimes they don't. Like, I'm scared about Breece Hall right now. Will he be the same?
I hope so. But,
I think he will. But
just going to say, like, look at Ezekiel Elliott. He's only 25 years old, and last year he literally fell off a cliff.
I think he's 27. He's late 20s. Like, not even technically in his prime yet for, like, a football player who's, like, I think 30s usually someone's prime, 29, 30. And he's not. He's just entering that technically. But for running back, their prime's like 20.
He's already, like, exactly. Not even question of being like a good running back.
For a running back, their prime's 25. It's sad, but that's just the way it goes in the league right now.
Yeah,
speaking of oh, sorry.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, like, yeah, you're right. That's a good reason why they should be paid early. Have one good year, maybe even like a half a season, and already start talking about your contract.
Yeah, like that's what Zeke did. But then they end up having to cut him. But
that's what I'm saying. It's a gamble. Yeah. It's a real gamble.
Because that's why he wasn't worth it. Especially towards the end of his tenure with Dallas. But
I think if you have a good running back, you shouldn't just run with him every other play, because you're you're risking getting him hurt a lot.
And you want to conserve, if you're a good team, you want to conserve him for the playoffs. So I've seen a lot of running backs. I remember with the Jets back in 2009, Thomas Jones had 1,400 yards, and towards the playoffs, his legs seemed kind of shot. And then that's when Sean Green came on and had that great playoff run. So it seems like a lot of running backs that take a lot of the heat during the regular season. They kind of start like Barkley last year. He was getting the most activity.
They abused Barkley.
Exactly. That's why he kind of like waned off towards the end. If you noticed.
No, yeah, for sure. There were a lot of games where you just wasn't a Barkley game. He was like a hit or miss some games.
So we do definitely think the running backs should get paid, but early. Like at this point, yes, Barkley should be tagged.
But it's always a gamble. No matter what, like. Paying a running back is a gamble.
It's a gamble.
It is.
It's a gamble for sure. Speaking of contracts, Justin Herbert, now the highest paid player. And, it seems like these quarterbacks always want to go $1 million more, $500,000 more than the previous person. But 5 years, $262.5 million. $16 million signing bonus. Wow. $219 million guaranteed. Annual average salary of $52.5 million.
Well, we were saying it last week. This happened with Jalen Hurts. This happened with Lamar. And now all these quarterbacks are doing it. I think it's really just good agents that are getting these deals.
It's capitalism at its finest.
It is, absolutely. And did he really deserve a deal after the performance they had last year?
To me, Justin Herbert's great. And like anyone that thinks that Justin Herbert isn't great is just like a casual and like doesn't really watch the games, because if you watch these games, he's special. I mean, last year he had Keenan Allen hurt, Mike Williams constantly hurt. He was doing it with Nathaniel Palmer, carrying them the victories. And yes, he kind of waned off in the second half of that Jaguars game. But where was the defense? You got a defensive head coach, and they just can't stop anybody in the second half.
So that might have just been the coaching staff in general.
A lot of that seemed like offensive play calling. They had very vanilla plays, and they changed coordinators to Kellen Moore. So I feel like a lot of that will, they're going to be very creative this year. They add another receiver, Quentin Johnston. They're a little stacked. They're a little stacked. They have to make. They're another one that should make at least the AFC Championship game, or at least they got They got to win a playoff game first. Let's start with winning a playoff game. Because it's been steps with Justin Herbert. His first year was a bad team. Second year barely missed the playoffs. Remember that last game against the Raiders where like both of them could have tied, but the Raiders kicked the field goal at the end. Barely missed the playoff. Third season makes the playoffs. Loses a playoff game. Now he needs to win a playoff game. It's steps in this league. It's levels. That's how I am. I know you might feel differently, but to me, Justin Herbert's special. Top 5 quarterback.
He is, but he's just kind of getting older, man. Like, what is his 4th year going into it?
Yeah, but he hasn't even really entered his prime yet,
Bro, what you're saying, okay.
A running back's prime is different than the quarterback's prime.
And then you crap on Daniel Jones for not being that good, but... What, he's in his going into his 4th year now.
Yeah, well, Daniel Jones isn't Justin Herbert. And not even close. They're in different stratospheres. And I know I seem like a Daniel Jones hater. I don't, you put players on Daniel Jones. You win some games with Daniel Jones.
Dude, my whole point about the Giants is they literally had no receivers. He was working with nobody. He was working with Evan Ingram's that literally caused maybe 5 of his interceptions. Like we said the other week, we watched videos of him catching the ball and balls right to him that just bounced out of his hand and went into the other team's
I'm going to play devil's advocate here. He was a first-round draft pick, and he's been a different player on the Jaguars. So at some point, Galladay kind of just sucked and fell off completely. But at some point, look inward. Is it Daniel Jones or is it the receivers?
Okay. All right, let's not get into it. Because Evan Ingram's, I've watched
he's frustrated because he was so bad on the Giants.
Right to him, and he just drops.
And then on the Jaguars, he was a different player. It is frustrating. It's all about the team. As a Giants fan, it is frustrating.
And you got to realize, that's kind of more of like anxiety. It's like, I already have this narrative around me that I drop balls.
Got the yips. But, talking about how, Daniel Jones, he had no receivers. Justin Herbert's got constant chaos going on. The Chargers organization as a whole is chaotic. They have a defensive head coach. They had all these defensive players, and their defense is still terrible.
Then they also have stars around him.
His rookie season, they had the worst offensive line in the league, and he set rookie records.
A consistent running back.
Yes.
2 to 3 really good receivers.
Who are always hurt. Mike Williams missed half the season. Keenan Allen, remember how many games Keenan Allen missed? You were like, is this guy going to play? Like,
no, I know.
He was doing it with Nathaniel Palmer, DeAndre Carter.
Palmer really stepped up,
Yeah, he would have been a solid 3 if they didn't draft Quentin Johnson. So he's probably going to be the 4 now, which is good for him.
It's crazy how they have all these. I think it's because they're getting injured, and then they're still.
They're adding depth. That's why. Yeah, they want to make sure that doesn't happen again this season.
No, I see what. Okay, I kind of like the Chargers.
No, me too. And like now, but I feel like we're saying this every year about the Chargers, and that's like to your point. That's to your point. You know, like is it a little bit Justin Herbert? I don't think so. I think it's the head coach. You know, I think he's a defensive head coach, and his defense is always terrible. Were they a little better at the end of last year? Yes, but then they allowed up to 27-point lead.
I feel like them and the Bills are in very similar categories, as in they really should have won a Super Bowl or been in a Super Bowl by now, but haven't even been close. Well, or at least the Chargers haven't been close.
You have a good point, but I feel like the Bills are like starting to go like this, and the Chargers are still kind of going along.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I feel like
the Chargers still have room for improvement, but I feel like the Bills might have hit their peak.
They might have. I don't know, man.
I hear a lot of Bills fans saying they have the most depth than the best roster they've ever had, but I don't see it. They lost defensive players. They don't have a great line. You know, they don't have a terrible line, but it's not great. I think they were ranked 20 in the 20s.
How long is it really gonna last, though?
I know, and Diggs is hot and cold, and he's a winning player. But like he did this in Minnesota too. It's only a matter of time. But why would he leave Josh Allen? So you know,
that's a good point. Like if he doesn't do it with Josh Allen, who is he gonna do with? No one.
Want to go back to Kirk Cousins? I like Kirk Cousins, but he's not Josh Allen. Okay,
I don't know. Patrick Mahomes said he was one of the most underrated quarterbacks. So
yeah. Well, I think that's because they did I think that's because they did the Netflix thing together, and he was kind of sitting right next to him. So you know, obviously, I'm surprised Cousins didn't go. Oh, Mariota is the most underrated. No one would have taken him seriously because Mariota is definitely accurately.
I don't
rated.
know. I feel like Kirk Cousins has his spurts of
I like Kirk Cousins. I think he gets a little ragged on too much. I think people sympathize with him more after that documentary.
Yeah, and, definitely.
Kirk Cousins can put up numbers. He shies away in the big moment, but you know he puts up numbers. Speaking of contracts. My guy Aaron Rodgers restructured his deal, got an extension, 2 years, $75 million, fully guaranteed, but a massive pay cut, $30 to $35 million pay cut. He would have never done that in Green Bay.
No,
this is a different Aaron Rodgers, Dylan.
It is. No, I think he's just doing this because of Green Bay. Like he's like, listen, I'm not all about the money. But he was at the time.
You have a point. In a way, it's a brand pivot. It's like, okay, I'm the reasonable, understandable guy that can work with young players now.
I think there was just too much going on with Green Bay. They really just pinned him to be the bad guy. I don't know if that was really the case. I feel like they really weren't.
I think he's a little prickly, but he's not a bad guy.
You really got to realize from Aaron Rodgers' perspective, like they were ready to go to a Super Bowl again. They had no receivers, and then they go and pick up Jordan Love in the first round.
Yeah, and that's when he won back-to-back MVP. That's why I want angry Aaron Rodgers this year. When he's angry, he's a different player. He won back-to-back MVPs after that.
That's pretty crazy.
They did need another receiver.
Yeah,
they did. They had nothing besides Devontae Adams at the time, and then they get rid of Devontae Adams. But he wanted out. I think.
But, you got to sympathize for him. So like, I don't know. I feel like he's making a big step. Like this is really him saying like, look, I'm really not about the money. I just want to win, and a team that really cares about me. And if the Jets really show they cared about him. They literally did everything. They're in love with Aaron Rodgers. Everybody in the team loves him. Freaking
dude, they love him.
Sauce Gardner got him his own little chain. He's put it on for me. Like, come on, you love to see that stuff.
The other day he was saying how he's not really a big chain guy, but he's got to wear it once because he's got a gift rule. You got to wear everything once.
Of course.
Yeah, he's got to rock that.
I love to see that.
It's weird seeing him in number 8 instead of 12, but I'll get used to it as a Jet fan.
There's a lot of good stuff going over on the Jets.
Yeah,
you showed me this video where they were
the Hard Knocks preview where Sauce and Garrett Wilson are going at it, and you're watching it, and you're like, these are two of the best going at it, and like Garrett Wilson's not there yet, but after this year he will be there, and Sauce is there. Sauce is either the best corner in the league or the second best corner in the league, and Garrett Wilson's going to be a top 10 receiver after the season. You could put money on that. Okay? Garrett Wilson's going to be elite. And Sauce was on him almost every play. Garrett beat him a couple times. Sauce beat him a couple times. But it just looked like you were watching two greats going at it. It gave me the chills.
When you have two really great receivers two really good, great receivers and cornerbacks going at it, it really only makes them both better. Because, if you're not who else can you verse that's gonna make you any better?
Yeah, what if you have like a crappy corner and you got a great receiver? You're not really gonna get the work in.
No, you're gonna think you're gonna be like, oh, I'm great, I got this, and then go into the game and get roasted, And
I put Miami over the Jets, I know, but Jalen Ramsey's gonna be out for 6 to 8 weeks now. He, I think, has a meniscus
tear. Yeah, that's no joke either.
I might have to. He's gonna probably be okay to start the season, maybe a few weeks in. I don't know. I know my Jets bias is kicking in this Hard Knocks thing.
Dude, I don't know, man.
I might have to pivot on this. And, I don't know if it's because of my Jets bias, but this is, the real deal. This looks serious right now. The Jets are a legitimate contender.
Dude, I'm seeing so many videos, like that back corner catch by Garrett Wilson. Oh, my God.
He looks special with Aaron Rodgers. Something's brewing here, and Dalvin Cook coming in Saturday. Something's happening with the New York Jets, and I think we're watching the team become a legitimate Super Bowl contender in front of our eyes. I might be getting a little dramatic with the Hard Knocks coming out.
Listen,
this looks very serious. Aaron Rodgers taking a pay cut is a very, very big deal. I think he knows that this team can win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, for sure, man. And then he signed the two-year contract. I mean,
he said this isn't a one-and-done thing.
No, yeah, for sure, man. I can definitely see them taking a big step up. I said it last week. It might take more than one season. It might be that second season that they really make a reach for the Super Bowl.
And I
can see it.
And they really have a shot. And look, if Joe Burrow, this injury today, scary.
Oh,
if they're hurt, the Bengals are out of it too, they have even more of a shot. But let's get into the Bengals. How scary is this for the Bengals right now?
So I agree. This is very scary. But I talked about this the other week. The Bengals are stacked. And what? Okay, so let me just throw this story out there. What if by some wild chance the Bengals, they still go to the Super Bowl with this backup?
Trevor Siemian.
Listen, it's a far-fetched thing, but what if that happens? So do you get rid of Joe Burrow?
No. I'm not going to entertain this. I'm not going to entertain this. Okay, I'll let you go.
You have all these stars in Bengals, and you have all these stars in Cincinnati. Obviously, somebody's going to go because you can't pay everyone. You have so many stars there that you have to pay.
You're gonna have to. You can't. Not everyone's gonna eat. Like Joe Burrow said.
Okay, so what if you could do it without their star quarterback?
You can't though. They won't go to the Super Bowl. They won't win the Super Bowl. If they win the Super Bowl without Joe Burrow, if Joe Burrow's hurt and he's out for the year and they make the Super Bowl and they win the Super Bowl, I will shave right through my head. If you can shake on it right now, I will shave right through my head.
No, I'm not going to embarrass you.
I'll bet myself. If that happens, I will. You're right. Okay.
Joe Burrow is good. I like him. But there's so many stars there.
He's the second best quarterback in the league. If Mahomes didn't exist, he's the best quarterback in the league.
Joe Mixon. But it's just like the 49ers situation. Don't get me wrong. They lost because they kept on going through quarterbacks that were terrible, that kept on getting injured. But Purdy, he really took a step up. And I don't know how good Purdy is. He was just surrounded by really good players.
I agree with that.
And he went off for 3 weeks. But he had 3 back-to-back wins that were amazing.
We have to look at the common denominator here with Joe Burrow, though. The Bengals were bad. The second Joe Burrow got there, they became a legitimate Super Bowl contender. Even their first season, when they were kind of bad and he got hurt, the first game I ever watched him against the Chiefs, I'm like, wow, this guy can play. He can play, Dylan.
I know, but you can make a good team and then just step away and just let them do that.
No, because without Joe Burrow, they're back into the abyss. They're back into the abyss. You know how hard it is to find the quarterback? Look at all the missed draft picks. Zach Wilson, Trey Lance. We were talking about this earlier.
But you can't you could probably just pick up one of those quarterbacks and be just fine.
Well, yeah, okay. If they win the Super Bowl with Trevor Siemian, then they can win it without Burrow. And if they can
then easily they pick up. Then they could just keep on going through quarterbacks.
Well, this is what the Eagles are doing. They have a stacked roster with a quarterback on a rookie contract. That's one way to win. Or Mahomes. That seems like the 2 ways to win right now.
But they can do that the same thing. Trade Joe Burrow, get a bunch of first-round draft picks, and then boom, you got a decent quarterback, and then maybe somebody on the line to protect him.
I can't believe you're making this take right now.
Dude, it could be a thing. Let's see. I don't know. We don't know what condition Joe Burrow is in. We don't know how long he's going to be out, if he even needs surgery. This literally just happened today. A couple hours before we recorded.
By the time this gets posted tomorrow, he might already be fine, or he might not be. So
but it was a non-contact injury.
Which is the scariest.
dude, he could have easily like pulled something. He might need like.
And I'm pretty sure he tore his ACL once.
Did he?
Yeah, his rookie season.
Yeah, so that's scary. Hopefully it's not the same knee.
It is, but it's funny because I see our future now. I have a crystal ball in front of me, and I see social media just ripping you for this Joe Burrow take. But you gotta be strong in your opinions, Dylan. That's the first thing I told you when we got into this business.
Dude, they almost made the Super Bowl, and you really can't put that
with Joe Burrow.
You can't put it all on the quarterback.
That's an argument.
You can't say they just got there because of Joe Burrow.
That's a legit argument though, because at LSU he had a stacked team, and in Cincinnati he's had a stacked team. So I do get where you're coming from.
Dude, put him on the Patriots and let's see how good he is.
That's a good point, but I think that's a good perfect example. No talent on that team. Put Joe Burrow on the Patriots, they're a playoff team, in my opinion. In my opinion.
This gets funny.
Joe Burrow makes the Cincinnati Bengals.
Dude,
look at them before he got there and look at them now. I know he is Jamar Chase. I know he is T. Higgins. I know he is Joe Mixon. Stop. Let's stop. Joe Burrow is great. And with that, I think we'll agree to disagree. But no, it's an interesting take though, and you know what? I told you to have strong opinions when we started doing this.
Yeah, but what if that would be pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, but that's
and then what do you do with him at that point? Do you do exactly what I said?
I don't think that's gonna happen though. You're not gonna win a Super Bowl with Trevor Siemian. When was the last average quarterback that won a Super Bowl?
But it all comes. It's not about the quarterback. It comes down to coaching staff calling the plays. Obviously, you're not gonna rely on the quarterback that much.
It's a quarterback and head coach.
You're gonna fall more back on Joe Mixon. You're gonna do the easy plays.
They can make the playoffs without Joe Burrow, but they won't go far.
And then boom, Joe Burrow comes back. Look,
if he came back, all right, they tread water and he comes back. But
then it wouldn't be all on Joe Burrow.
You need Joe Burrow.
Okay,
yeah, but you need Joe Burrow. The Bengals aren't the same without Joe Burrow. That's how it starts and that's how it ends with Joe Burrow. He's situationally elite. When they need him in a key moment, he always makes a big play. Joe Burrow.
I love Joe Burrow. Yeah. You're right, but I'm just throwing narratives out there. You're doing devil's advocate,
and you have good points. You do have good points, even though people might think you're crazy for this.
I'm not crapping.
Yeah, he's not. I don't think you're a Joe Burrow.
I really like Joe Burrow. He's a team. I talked about this the other week. He's a team player. He's willing to take pay cuts. I don't think he's going to get a crazy deal.
Yeah, that's interesting too. What kind of contract is he going to get? More of a Herbert contract or like a Mahomes contract?
So yeah, well, you want to get on that real quick because I think so. I don't know if he's going to get some sort of contract like this, but I feel like the best sort of contract a player could get is a long-term contract because Patrick Mahomes got a 10-year contract, and yeah, by the time we get into the 5th and 6th year, he's not going to be getting paid as high as these other quarterbacks.
You're right. Yes, you're right.
But
accumulation, I'm pretty sure he has the highest total contract in NFL history, and he's setting himself up for life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So 1 year you get hurt, you don't have to worry about not playing or getting cut
or getting another contract because you have a short contract.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
I agree with that.
I think Joe
he's
Burrow,
smart.
Yeah, he's really.
But is that option going to be available to Joe Burrow? A 10-year deal? I mean, he's not Mahomes. I'll admit that he's not Mahomes.
Oh my God! Now you're going the other way with
No, he's two. He's two behind Mahomes, but he's not Mahomes. I'll admit that. That's what I'm
saying. We still have some years to go with him. So we'll see if he bounces back from this injury and has an amazing year. I don't know. I think he can get a really good contract. Something similar to Patrick Mahomes.
It's funny. We're speculating about this. We could post this episode because usually we film Thursday, post Friday. We could be posting this and it could just be a non-story at this point, and then he could just be back.
No, but it is a good topic. What if Joe Burrow just stepped back? What would the Bengals be at that point?
That's a good point. Even if this injury is nothing and he comes back and he's fine, what would they be without Joe Burrow with Trevor Siemian, who's a legitimate backup? I'm confidently could say they have a chance of making the playoffs without Joe Burrow, but they wouldn't go far. But the AFC stacked, so would they really make the playoffs?
You are right there. So it would be a very hard
I do think it'd be possible. With their defense is underrated.
They would be going up against the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes and
my Jets and the Dolphins.
No, but I'm saying
and the Bills and the Jaguars
and the
Chargers.
Who knows? Yeah. Who knows?
But all right, we got into a lot of different things this week, Dylan. But it was fun.
No, it was fun. We got into a lot of good topics. A lot of stuff is happening now. So
preseason, I think, starting next week too.
Oh wow!
I know it flies by. Yeah.
Woo!
So
let's go. It's exciting stuff, man.
Good to see you.
Yeah, man. It was a good topic.
See you next week.